There we go. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Robyn McTague, a Master Holistic Healer. And the reason I have that name is because I do so many different things. I have a wide range in my background. I have psychology degree, conflict resolution, counseling certificate, critical incident stress debriefing, thought field therapy, EIP, a bunch of different metaphysical systems that I've learned over time. And I also believe we have to take care of all of us, which is not just our physical body, but the etherics around us. So around our physical body is our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual etheric. And when they're all in alignment, then we're in health. So when anything gets out of synchronicity and things are kind of not going at the same time is when we can get disease. So I have a list over there, and you can take one if you'd like. So I talk about some courses that I teach through Training in Power. So I teach the level 1 class to adults, and the system is a healing system based in meditation. And what's different about this system are two main differences. One, it's an active style of meditation, so it's not going in and repeating a mantra or emptying your mind like a lot of the Eastern philosophies. Instead, what I do is teach you different things to do within your mind. So you're setting up a structure, and it's going through, and it's like, okay, now I'm doing my grounding, now I'm doing my shielding, now I'm going and doing my dream interpretation, or I'm talking to my guides and getting information there. I'm working with my dream interpretation, or maybe I need to get some information. I need to make a decision. So I'm going inward and finding those answers for myself. And the other thing that's different is a system that's called power transference. And what that means is I actually shift your vibration over the course of the 4 classes. So what it means is with your shift in vibration, you get a different perspective of the world. Einstein said everything is vibration. So if we shift our vibration to a higher vibration, we can bring in more of what we want. So an example is music, right? When we listen to music, we often, if we're listening to music that's uplifting, our vibration shifts. So that's an easy way to kind of envision how it is. And so over the 4 weeks, you shift the equivalent of 7 years of training in Tibet. So it's not a lightweight course, and there's a lot packed into it. And we also have a children's course that I teach, and we break that down from age 4 to 8, or 4 to 7, 8 to 12, and 13 plus. So it's just the languaging, and what we do in the class is modified based on the age of the children. And so they get kind of a mini level 1 course. They learn about their shielding system, their little bubble to keep them safe and not take on negativity, a way to ground themselves and to calm themselves and do healings on themselves and their friends and their pets. So it's really fun to see them shift over the time. And I've seen kids stand up to bullies because they know that they don't have to take that energetic on. So it's a really exciting thing. And so the other part of what I do is a lot around coaching. So I created a system I call a life of choice. And so basically the basic system that I've been trained in is dream coaching, and that's through Marcia Wieder. She actually coached Oprah, so she has a system that is really good. There are 10 modules or 10 steps done over 12 weeks, and it goes everything from what is intention to what is my purpose, right through to the building blocks and the steps of actually implementing what you want, whether it's simple like planning a trip or, the job change or whatever it is. And so what I do within that is I bring in other systems. So even with the coaching or counseling, whatever I'm doing, I'm always bringing in the metaphysical stuff as well. And so usually I start off with an initial session of doing either a motivational map or a numerology chart. I do a karmic style of numerology, and you can actually look at relationships with your family patterns and seeing the similarity and the lessons that you're learning over lifetimes. So it's really interesting to look at the familial patterns. You can look at yourself, your children, your partner's family, and just seeing what those connections are. So it's a really interesting place to see what those lessons are. And with the motivational map, the map can be done with or without the coaching. So the map is a simple online tool. So you do a test online, it takes about 15 minutes, and then I do an hour session with you after. So we do a debrief and a coaching session around what your results are. So the motivational map is ISO approved. It's a high standard, and it's based on 3 things. So it's the Enneagram, Shine's Career Anchors, and Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. So it gives you information on, out of the 9 motivators, what are your top 3, and about 60 to 70% of your behavior is kind of put through those 3 top motivators. So we have bits of all of the 9, it's just how they stack up. So because there are so many differences between people, it's very unique to an individual, and there's over 1 million combinations. So it's really unlikely to have, a map similar to someone else. And that's why there are no labels or anything placed on it. Like other assessments you may have done, this is a very different type of assessment because it's giving you where you are at now. Motivation changes over time with life circumstances, your age, your values, your beliefs, all of that. So it's something you can look at and track over time. And the other thing I like about it, it helps to bring those pieces where there might be some conflict within you, bring that to the forefront to your awareness. So for example, you may be really high growth, and it's like, oh, you're always striving for the future, you're thinking about the future, what's the next thing I'm going to do and what I'm going to create. And there's a part of you that has some information around relationship. Relationship takes time. So people that are stronger in relationship take longer to make decisions than someone in growth that's a high growth. So if you have both of those that are strong within you, you could feel that conflict all the time. So that's just one example of how that might show up on your map. The other thing is that the lowest motivators I find is also very important for people because it helps them to see how they might view the world. So for example, my learning when I did my map was friendship in the workplace was not a motivator for me. However, it is for other people, right? People stay in jobs longer because of people that they want to be with, or maybe a friend leaves or people they like leave and then they leave the job too. So it's not so much about the job. What motivates them is the people that they work with. For me, I did a lot of different jobs even when I worked corporately, and I'd move from job to job because I needed the stimulation mentally. And so to understand, it's not that these people were needy. Sometimes I would feel like that they were like tugging, and it's like, oh, come for lunch and stuff like that. It's like, no, I need that time for my workout. That's the only time I can fit it in. Not that I didn't enjoy them. So that's the thing. There are no good or bad motivators. It's just what motivates us and, each other. So we can have a common language to talk about things between people and between partners too. It's a good way to have that balance. So you can have that common language. And what else can I say about that? Seeing how we're doing for time. So, okay. Another thing I do is Legal Shield. We don't have anyone. We used to have someone that did Legal Shield, so if you need that, it's not my main reason for being in the group, but I do have cards over there if that's something you're interested in. Pardon? You can, yeah. So Legal Shield actually is a low-cost monthly fee, and then you have unlimited phone calls with a lawyer. It includes your will, and you can have that done annually, and power of attorney. So it includes all of that. There's also an app So if you're stopped for any reason and you want to have immediate counsel, there is 24-hour access. And so there's a lot of benefits and contracts. Like people find that, so for the regular membership, we do have ones for business as well. There's add-ons and there's also ID Shield. So usually contracts about 10 to 12 pages. So buying a car, people have found that, you know, they've overpaid, and if they take it to the lawyer, then, oh, that clause you don't really need, and save themselves like $800. Or with the mortgages, if your closing costs, even if you need to hire the lawyers, if it goes beyond the scope of the free service or the monthly fee that you pay, which is about $26, then you can get a discount between 25 to 33% off.
But then they have like their list of lawyers?
So what there is for Vancouver, we have a dedicated law firm, and so they have someone in that area. So if you don't live in Vancouver and want to have, say you're on the island, you're in Nanaimo, so what would happen is they would set you up with a lawyer there, and there might be a small extra fee, maybe 25. Right, yeah. Like I found for myself, I saved money. I had a place in Alberta and I had problems with the tenants and my management company, and they were so helpful. I was on the phone sometimes twice a day with Legal Shield there. So it's really about helping you being able to do it for yourself as much as possible so you don't have that additional fee. So they'll send an email or send a letter on your behalf. And even if I was looking at potentially going to court because I thought I might have to evict the tenant, and they said, well, if you need to, we'll get an articling student, so it'll cost you less. And so they're looking for ways to help you that way.
Do you have like a presentation of this service you can share with us?
Yes.
I would like to have something that explains a little bit more in detail that service.
Yeah.
Because then as I don't do it, when people ask, you can say, I can say something that was shared to me, and you just share it with that person, or explain a little bit, like I would like to.
Yep, sure. Yeah, so that's another area, because again, it's that holistic piece for me. It's like if you're worried at night about something and you're not sleeping, then you're not going to have good health. So whatever I do, like I've taken some nutrition courses and different things as well. So I have kind of a overview, and myself dealing with health issues. I learned a lot, plus I have some schooling and just learned a lot on my own. So I have 2 books that I've been involved in, and they're both over there if you want to have a look. So one of them is called Your Shift Matters, and that talks about my journey dealing with breast cancer. So it's sort of like a chicken soup for the soul kind of book. So there's a bunch of us who talk about our journeys with our challenge and how we came through the other side. And the other one's kind of more of a journal book, and it's just like thoughts for the day, and then you can put your own, are you the missing piece? So it just kind of talks about, kind of a thought, and then you can journal yourself on what that means to you. And just seeing what else, if there's anything I've missed. So one of the pieces of the motivational map, it's based on the Enneagram, which is a personality typing process. And I'm currently training, I'm in a year-long program to train into coaching the Enneagram. So I can take people even further with that if they're interested. And I'm really enjoying it. I head to Santa Cruz on Thursday for our first in-person session as a group. We have a weekend of bonding and getting to know each other and working the system and learning all about that. And I like this quote, usually when I do the presentation just on the map. When you are motivated, you have a clear sense of purpose, energy, perseverance, and resilience. Demotivation is less defined and is often not something we are conscious of. It creeps up on us. So that's one of the things I like about the map as well. It can show you places where you can become demotivated. So for example, one of those dimensions, if that's important to you, you don't really like paperwork. So you may be getting frustrated or procrastinating because that's something that that particular motivator doesn't like. So having that knowledge, then you can say, okay, that's what's causing the frustration. Can I do something about it? Can I ship that out to someone else to do, or whatever it is? So, and